webinar of Daisar Medical Association. Now it is almost 4/7 and we are almost 27 delegates present. In our day-to-day practice, we come across many patients of diarrhea in pediatrics. To give us the recent updates regarding diarrhea, we have with us leading pediatrician Dr. Hema Yadav ma'am. To moderate the session, we have Dr. Abhijit Agrawat, leading pediatrician from Daisar. Vote of thanks will be given by our president of Daisar Medical Association, Dr. Milind Taute sir. To introduce our speaker, Dr. Hema Yadav ma'am, may I call upon leading family physician from Borivali and director of United Hospitals, Dr. Samir Jadhav. Over to Dr. Samir Jadhav. Dr. Samir Jadhav, unmute yourself.
Thank you, sir. Hello. Thank you, Vinayak sir. Thank you, DME, to give me a chance to introducing Dr. Hema Yadav madam. Dr. Hema Yadav madam. Hello.
Yeah, hello. We can hear you.
Dr. Hema Yadav. Hello.
जरा जोरात बोल जरा.
Is audible, sir?
You can continue, sir. We can hear you.
Dr. Hema Yadav madam is practicing pediatrician in Daisar since last 10 years. She has pursued her MBBS from State GS Medical College and KM Hospital and post-graduation from Sion Hospital. She has received special training in field of neonatology and pediatric hematology. Her clinical expertise and child-friendly demeanor has made her South Africa pediatrician affiliated to various hospitals apart from her private clinic. Well Life Diabetes and Pediatric Care Center, Daisar, and Darsh Diabetes and Pediatric Care Center, Binder. Her field of interest range from neonatology and lactation to nutritional counseling and growth and development, as well as childhood allergies and asthma. So welcome, Dr. Hema madam. Please guide about topic management of diarrhea in children. Thank you.
Very good afternoon to all of you, and thank you, Dr. Jadhav, for your kind words. I would personally introduce myself as just a soul on a human experience, on a human journey on this earth, and sharing the experience with you all. We are blessed to be doctors. So I think my first point I want to make here in my presentation. I'm sharing my screen now. Is it visible?
Yeah, we can see that. Can everyone see the screen?
Yeah. So,
Yes. Yeah. Okay, Dr.
Yeah,
Hema, you can continue.
okay, can I continue?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. So I salute all fellow doctors for the relentless work and service to mankind during this pandemic. I think we must all pat ourselves on our back, and we are doing a great job. I don't know about the public, but at least the doctor fraternity knows that how much we are putting in during this pandemic. And as always, we always did work, but it is just coming into public view now. So as Carl Jung said, medicines cure diseases, but only doctors can cure patients. There's a message I want to give today. Like, we are not pharmacists or compounders that we have to know the drug doses and just that. It's just not about the prescription. It's about treating your patient as a whole. So let me begin my topic. Just a minute. I'm not able to hear. Are you able to see?
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is regarding, can you give me a minute? Yeah, so the management of diarrhea in children, I took this because there's an avalanche of topics on COVID, and we have got so much information from everywhere. And this is one thing which is neglected, I feel. So childhood diarrhea is a major public health burden in India, as we all know. And especially now, after we have driven away polio and government is after measles. So this is the next main global goal, to end preventable deaths due to diarrhea and pneumonia. So I am very sure that everyone knows the definition of diarrhea. I'm not going to go about it, all the types of it. Just want to reiterate that it is the presence of abnormally watery stools more than 3 times a day, and it can present in various ways. The three most common are acute watery diarrhea, bloody diarrhea, and the persistent diarrhea. So, in clinical practice, what is more important rather than knowing 1, 2, 3 types of diarrhea is what is not a diarrhea. What types of loose stools will you not call as a diarrhea? So, when especially newborns and infants, the mother complains that ये बच्चा तो stools हर feed के बाद pass करता है. When you go on asking कि watery, she doesn't say it's exactly watery, but it's a kind of pasty stools. It's like a paste. So pasty stools in a breastfeeding child, it is not termed as diarrhea. You have to just reassure the mother that that is not diarrhea. That is because the immature gut, either it could be the lactose intolerance, or it could be, there's a term called hind milk, fore milk imbalance. I'll come to it later on if anyone is interested in it, but it's completely physiological, and some changes in the lactation, and with maturity, as the child crosses the 12-week mark, the diarrhea is resolved. Another thing in older kids, when a school-going kid comes to you with a small volume of stool frequently passed, एक बार toilet ढाकता है मैं, especially खाने के बाद या ऐसे, and मतलब may also give you a history of sometimes constipation and sometimes diarrhea. The bowel habits are not the bowel habits are vague. So in those cases also you won't term it as इतने बार हो गया, हर बार हो रहा है, 3 months if this goes on. So then you have to think that there could be some other reason. It might not be infectious, especially if the child is stable, he's not toxic, he's not having any fever. You think of other causes, functional diarrhea, that is, pseudo diarrhea or irritable bowel syndrome, where basically the bowel is not functioning properly. There is no pathogenic cause. So this is what I want to say. These are not, don't prescribe antibiotics for these cases. So this is just the textbook classification wise according to pathogens duration. We can skip through it. Again, there are many causes, but we can, I think, just. So my topic is basically management of diarrhea, which is more chunk of treatment. But I believe as doctors, as I said, we need to treat the patient as a whole. So first you have to know. The eyes do not see what the mind does not know. So you have to know it to see it in the patient. So what will you ask the mother? This is one topic where you do not need to take the history. I'm sure all Indian mothers, they give a detailed history of their child's bowel habits. कितने बार ऐसा होता है कि clinic में when patient comes, other illnesses we have to ask, ये भी हुआ था क्या, वो भी हुआ था, but in diarrhea, कब से हो रहा था, what color of the stools, कितने बार हुआ था, they just go on telling you. Some educated parents come to me with the photograph of the child's potty. So this is quite embarrassing, but it's again important to know how many times the child has passed, what color, whether there is presence of frank blood, that is red, or there is melena, which is black tarry stools, and associated problems we always ask, like, fever, abdominal pain, vomiting, which are common. Other associated problems which are not common, but you should always ask, especially this COVID era. The last 10 days, did the child have fever? Did the child have any ear infections or, pus discharge from nothing, for which the child might have received a course of antibiotics or anything like that. So these are associated symptoms you should always ask for. Then obviously dietary history is a must in pediatrics and especially in diarrhea. And immunization history, whether the child has taken rotavirus vaccination or not taken, or the routine vaccines. Now, in a toxic child, please do not forget to ask the urine output. Even in infants, please do ask how many wet diapers the mother has changed, or कितने बार सुसु करता है. First line अगर mother बोलती है कि no, frequently pass करता है तो बार-बार करता है, तो then your safe line dehydration नहीं है. But it might be missed, not with you. I'm not just telling you, even I have missed this. When educated parents come, you think that, if the mother hasn't complained, you tend to assume that the child has been passing urine a lot. But it happens they may miss and you might miss to us. फिर शाम को phone आता है कि no, the child has not passed urine since morning. So this is out of all the history. If you want to, the most important is always ask for urine output because it will show you the severity of the diarrhea. Sorry. Now, there are many parameters to judge the severity, as you see here, but now in COVID era, we have to judge it by looking or, by asking. So what will you, again, ask the child if he wants to have water or ask the mother if he wants to looking the thirst. If the child is very thirsty, it again indicates some part of dehydration, some amount of dehydration. But if the child is not thirsty at all and very listless, it is severe dehydration. Three things I want you to look at the child. One is the face of the child. Tell the mother to open the t-shirt or look at the chest of the child and the abdomen. These three things when you see. Sunken eyes, look for sunken eyes. Look for dry tears. The child is irritable, crying, but they are not tears. In a small infant, you look for the anterior fontanelle, whether it is sunken or whether it is not, looking healthy. Then you might not check for pulse. If the child is allowing you the pulse oximetry, it's best to check for tachycardia. In fever, it is commonly the child will have a tachycardia, but if the child is not having any fever, the child is tachycardic with cool extremities, it is severe dehydration. Look for the tongue of the child, whether it is wet, the oral mucosa. So all these things you can. So this will give you an idea whether there is no dehydration, some dehydration, severe dehydration. So your further treatment, your prescription will depend on that. कि the hospital भेजना है कि OPD basis treatment है, will depend on this criteria. So not like 1, 2, 3, 4, but I said just 5 things basically about the thirst, the eyes, the pulse, and there is a pinch sign, a capillary refill, which you press the thumb and leave it. If the blood returns easily, it's okay. If there is delayed return of the redness, more than 2 seconds, the capillary refill time is delayed, then that again goes to severe dehydration. So this is the sunken eyes. Appreciate the eyes of the child after rehydration and when the child was dehydrated. And this is the skin turgor. I have not seen this lately because parents do come in quite early. This usually occurs in peripheries where, the child has been neglected or severely, or it may occur in, copious amount of diarrhea and severe dehydration following 10, 20 watery diarrheas. This can come when you pinch the skin of the abdomen and you leave it. The abdomen which was folded with the pinch goes on very slowly. So that is the turgor sign or skin turgor you find. A delayed skin turgor again is severe dehydration. So I'll just skip through this. There's a WHO guidelines for, now you have decided there is severe dehydration. So you want to send the child for IV fluids. If there is some dehydration, you start the child on oral rehydration. If there is no dehydration, you can just give your prescription and send the mother on home available. So these are the things I want to discuss today. I'll start with it. So severe dehydration, I'm sure, everyone is aware, but the recent thing which has changed is the Nelson latest edition of pediatrics mentions you can give isotonic fluids like normal saline. And you might want to give it at a slower rate in malnourished. Looking at the malnourished children over here and the child who is in hypernatremia, like whose sodium is a bit higher level, then you might use dextrose, D5 and 0.45 normal saline. Otherwise, any severe dehydration, normal saline is the only fluid which is, recommended. Clinic level, rather than IV, I would focus more on ORS. This is, as we say, Amitabh Bachchan is the Sadi ka Mahanayak, bolte hain. वैसे ORS को the Lancet Journal has termed ORS as the most important medical advancement of the century because the sheer amount of lives it has saved, the impact it has had on the life of the people though it is very, we tend to, disrespect the things which are cheaper in life. Life is very simple, but जिसका भाव ज्यादा होता है उसी को लोग तवज्जो देते हैं. But this is one thing which is very important. Though cheaper, though cheaper, it is the best. So ORS is the cornerstone of the management of diarrhea. It is the first line you should write in your prescription. And why I'm telling you is that usually it is not written with dosage. No one mentions it as a dosage. And then what we experience when the child comes to us, he has already been to doctors, he already has that ORS, but there is a wide discrepancy in the what is given, or maybe you might have explained, but it is not written, and what the mother gives. She might have misunderstood or she might not give it. So this is a very common condition we face in our OPDs कि mother is not giving ORS. वो 4-5 सिरप देगी लेकिन वो ORS देना भूल जाती है, और the child does not accept. So you need to drill into the mind that this is a medicine, and there is a basically there's a principle about it. बोलते हैं कि ग्लूकॉन डी दे दिया. Like for them, like ORS is ताकत का पानी, you can give juice, anything. It's not ताकत का पानी. The funda is जैसे जय वीरू साथ में रहते हैं, जैसे you could say क्रैक जैक में मीठा नमकीन साथ में रहता है, so you have to tell the mother it is नमक और शक्कर का घोल. So there's a basic funda. There's a sodium glucose co-transport which drives the water inside intracellular. So this sodium glucose co-transport is the one which causes rehydration. So we need the sodium, we need the salt. So any liquid which is just Glucon-D will not be useful. Again, the newer recommendation by WHO in this, I'm sure everyone is using, is the low osmolality. So again, that is to prevent the solute load, especially in hypernatremic dehydration. Low osmolality ORS is safe and effective for all ages. It is, mind you, it is not only for pediatrics. ऐसा नहीं है कि बच्चों को ही सिर्फ देना है, बड़ों को भी देना है. कोई भी एज ग्रुप, इनफैक्ट नियोनेट्स भी ले सकते हैं. But in neonates who are exclusively breastfeed, so we don't need to give if the mother is adequately exclusively breastfeeding. So अभी ये नया ट्रेंड है मार्केट में, what is flavored and colored ORS. Basically वही चीज well, the studies have shown there is no serious advantage and neither any disadvantage. So we are just giving it. बच्चों को लगता है कि they are drinking fruity. Their mentality, the psychological benefit is that they can drink it through a straw like a fruity. Packs में आते, colorful रहते, but the basic mechanism of action is the same. Only concern is about the type of sweeteners, coloring, flavoring agents which they use, and they are just expensive for the common man. Zinc based ORS का भी बहुत trend था, but I personally would say I refrain from using zinc based ORS. ORS हम monitor नहीं कर सकते. हम सिरप्स का हमको पता है 2 बार दिया, दिन में 3 बार दिया. ORS मदर कैसे दिया, कितना दिया, और zinc is one thing, or zinc already we have given in our prescription. So I don't want to play with the amount of zinc in it. So keep it simple. ORS alag, zinc alag, I feel. That's my opinion. What are the practical problems you get in ORS? की मदर बोलते बाल घेतच नाहीये तोंडात आणि घेतलं की उलटी करू. Now vomiting is one thing. Without controlling that, no matter what you do, you cannot control it. Okay. So vomiting में whatever everything what you are giving is correct. Ondansetron you are giving is fine, but tell the mother to give ORS 5 ml every 20 minutes या इन चाय की चुस्की जैसे लेना है. ऐसा नहीं कि पूरा ग्लास पिला दिया तो ऑब्वियसली वो वॉमिटिंग करेगा. सो आई ऑलवेज से आप कैसे चाय चुस्की लेके पीते हैं वैसे ही ORS चुस्की चुस्की लेके देना है. थोड़ा देना है, ज्यादा हो गया तो कोई बात नहीं, 24 घंटे तक उसको रख सकते हैं, कम नहीं देना है. ठीक है. Taste again is I just discussed it. What are the things? I wanted to ask you, I wish it could be a two-way interaction, whether I want to ask you where do you tell about the diet or do the mothers leave you? क्योंकि मुझे कोई भी मदर बिना डाइट पूछे छोड़ती नहीं है. अगर छोड़ दिया तो उसका व्हाट्सएप आएगा या कॉल आएगा कि मैडम खिलाने का क्या पूछना भूल गए. कि बच्चे को क्या खिला सकते हैं, क्या नहीं खिला सकते। इतने बार जुला हुआ है, इतने बच्चे पैदा किए, बट दे स्टिल डोंट नो क्या खिलाने का है और क्या नहीं खिलाने का। So I feel just that is the slide for कि what is not ORS and what you should not advise it. चाय बिस्किट, चाय टोस्ट, चाय कॉफी वो नहीं देना है। हमने फ्रूटी लेके दे दिया या एरेटेड कोल्ड ड्रिंक्स दे दिए या जूस फ्रूट का दिया, उसमें मस्त शुगर मिला है 1 चम्मच, दैट इज नॉट टू बी गिवन। क्योंकि कोई भी टाइप का आप शुगर दोगे, ऑस्मोटिक ओवरलोड होगा एंड द डायरिया इज बाउंड टू इंक्रीज। अभी दही दे सकते हैं, दही कर्ड राइस इज गुड, दही चावल इज गुड, banana is good, milk, I'll come to it later on. Lassi without sugar is okay, with sugar is not recommended. So that again comes to my point, what are the nutritional intervention? अभी ऐसा लगेगा यही क्या है, मतलब ये तो सबको पता है, but believe me, this is the trick, you know, the magic trick which we do when, you know, दवाई सेम रहती है, but ये चीज चेंज करने से बच्चे को आराम मिलता है इन डायरिया। So why is it? Because as you see, this is a normal intestinal mucosa which is totally damaged, resulting in villus atrophy. डायरिया बंद होने के बाद भी ये चीज तुरंत ठीक नहीं होता है। It takes some time for the gut to heal. It might take weeks also. So in that case, the diarrhea might continue. The infection might have subsided, but diarrhea might continue if you don't give a suitable diet. There is something called as lactose intolerance. I know everyone knows, but just reiterating the fact that there is an enzyme lactase in your intestines. There is an enzyme lactase which, you know, digests the lactose. Lactose मतलब अपना कार्बोहाइड्रेट, और इंडियन डाइट में कार्बोहाइड्रेट भरपूर है। कोई भी चीज दो, रोटी, you know, चावल वगैरह, कोई भी अनाज, तो कार्बोहाइड्रेट डाइट है। So you are giving basically a lactose diet to the child, and उसके पास वो डाइजेस्ट करने की कैपेसिटी खत्म हो गई है बिकॉज द इंटेस्टाइन्स आर डैमेज। सो दिस कॉजेज सेकेंडरी लैक्टोज इंटॉलरेंस। इसीलिए जब भी खाना खाता है तो डायरिया और बढ़ जाता है, मिल्क पीता है तो डायरिया और बढ़ जाता है। पहले के लोग इसके लिए बोलते थे कि दूध बंद कर दो, दूध पिएगा तो जुलाब होते रहेगा, दूध बंद कर दो, बट देयर इज अ चेंज इन दैट रिकमेंडेशन। आई विल कम टू इट। As you see, there's a lactose malabsorption in acute diarrhea. I don't want to go into the the specifics or the mechanics of it, but it is a significant problem. So coming to that, I said पहले जो बोलते थे कि फीस जल्दी नहीं चालू करो, अभी अभी डायरिया हुआ है तो खाना भी नहीं, खाने में क्या दूं मैडम, नॉर्मल खाना तो नहीं दे सकते। तो ऐसा नहीं है, it is a myth. All over the world, you know, even the European Society of Gastroenterology, they have come to the conclusion कि early feeding करना है। Early feeding reduces the abnormal increase in the intestinal permeability. It enhances the gut regeneration. कोई भी मशीन को आप घर में अगर यूज नहीं करते हो, गैजेट को आप यूज नहीं करते हो, तो वो काम करना बंद कर देता है कि नहीं। सिमिलरली गट को भी अगर फंक्शनल रखना है तो उसको काम करते ही रखना है, थोड़ा बहुत उसको खाना देते रहना है। सो द फैक्ट इज अर्ली फीडिंग इज बेनिफिशियल इन डाइट। Okay. So, European Society of Gastroenterologists say, in gastroenterologist, the gold standard is breastfeeding, continue breastfeeding, रोकना नहीं है। नॉन ब्रेस्टफेड इंफेंट है तो भी 4 घंटे में जब उसका रिहाइड्रेशन हो जाए तो चालू करना है। As I said, the role of milk again. अच्छा, क्यों मिल्क नहीं बंद करना चाहिए, क्या फर्क पड़ेगा अगर मिल्क बंद कर दिया? Indian children are used to a milk-based diet. Okay, तो और anyways they are malnourished. तो ये it will be a double disaster for them. वैसे ही डायरिया है, कुछ खा नहीं रहा है, ऊपर से जो थोड़ा बहुत मिल रहा था न्यूट्रिशन वो भी नहीं मिलेगा। So calcium absorption, gut immunity also is affected by the lactose of the milk. So you continue them. Okay. Though breast milk has lactose, it is easily absorbed. These are the things to be avoided, as I said. And now the current trend, और एक नया चीज जो मार्केट में, there are lactose free formulas, you know, अलग से डिब्बे वाला दूध देते हैं जिसमें लैक्टोज नहीं, सोया मिल्क होता है, कुछ होता है, ट्रेंडी लगता है कुछ, you know, महंगा लगता है कि कुछ, but is it you know required? तो लोग बोलते हैं कि जब दूध दे सकते हैं, ब्रेस्ट मिल्क दे सकते हैं, तो ये दूध क्यों नहीं दे सकते, टॉप फीड क्यों नहीं दे सकते? आईएपी नाउ सेज के पूरी तरह से लैक्टोज बंद नहीं करना है गट इम्यूनिटी के लिए, तो थोड़ा देना है। इसके लिए उन्होंने लो लैक्टोज फॉर्मूलाज निकाले कि जिसमें एक बैलेंस बना रहे। कंप्लीटली हम मिल्क बंद नहीं कर सकते बच्चों में, थोड़ा देना है, बट कंप्लीट लैक्टोज भी नहीं दे सकते, नहीं तो डायरिया वर्सन होगा, बोला डॉक्टर खराब है। डायरिया तो बंद ही नहीं हुआ दवाई देने के बाद भी। इसके लिए तो बैलेंस करने के लिए वी गिव लो लैक्टोज फॉर्मूलाज, ओके। एंड आल्सो फॉर वेट गेन, कि वेट नहीं कम होना चाहिए। What about the only home based PAP? अभी PAP एक नया वर्ड है, I came to know. What is PAPs? PAP मतलब कुछ नहीं, ट्रेंडी नाम दे दिया है फॉर सॉफ्ट सेमी सॉलिड लिक्विड डाइट। हम लोग जो खिचड़ी टाइप बोलते हैं, कंजी या दलिया टाइप बोलते हैं, जो बच्चों को खिलाते हैं। सो द European societies have said that give only home based PAPs. So there is nothing but soft semi solid liquid based diet. And उसका भी क्यों इम्पोर्टेंस है? बिकॉज देखो तीन चीज है, कार्बोहाइड्रेट, प्रोटीन और फैट्स। सो कार्बोहाइड्रेट आप दे रहे हो, ठीक है, प्रोटीन दे रहे हो, पर फैट सब लोग अवॉइड कर रहे हैं क्योंकि भाजी नहीं और यू नो बट ऑयल्स नहीं दे रहे, और देना भी नहीं चाहिए बिकॉज इट विल, वो पूरा वेस्ट हो जाएगा, डायरिया भी बढ़ जाएगा और आपको वो मिलेगा भी नहीं। सो कुछ चीजें हम ऐड कर सकते हैं, ये लॉन्ग चेन ट्राइग्लिसराइड्स होते हैं इसमें, जो फुल डाइट में नहीं दे सकते, सेमी सॉलिड डाइट में, स्पेशली घी में जिसमें शॉर्ट चेन फैटी एसिड्स हो, वो हम दे सकते हैं। सो दिस इज द करेंट पैटर्न जो हम बताते हैं। ये परम्यूटेशन कॉम्बिनेशन आप पेशेंट को बोल सकते हैं कि भाई ब्रेस्ट मिल्क लो और घर का जो पैप्स है, जो खिचड़ी कंजी वगैरह लो, इन्फेंट फॉर्मूला लो, लैक्टोज फ्री फॉर्मूला लो, लो लैक्टोज फॉर्मूला लो, या अगर नहीं, अगर बहुत ही ज्यादा प्रॉब्लम है बच्चों को जिनको जेनेटिक प्रॉब्लम्स है, कंजेनाइटल लैक्टोज इंटॉलरेंस है, तो देयर आर लैक्टेज एंजाइम्स अवेलेबल इन ड्रॉप फॉर्मुलेशन में आते हैं। यू गिव एज 5 drops in the milk, तो what it helps is you know artificially आपने वो एंजाइम दे दिया, लैक्टेज एंजाइम था which was deficient, और डायरिया में लैक्टेज की डेफिशिएंसी हो जाती है, तो ऊपर से आप लैक्टेज दे रहे हो, बट आई डोंट थिंक इट इज यू नो टू कॉस्ट इफेक्टिव, क्योंकि डायरिया थोड़े दिन में वैसे भी ठीक हो जाएगा। MCT oil is what I would say will make a difference, especially if your child has low birth weight or you know weight is an issue, then please, और अगर आप उसको बोल रहे हो कि सिर्फ यही सब खाना दो, फैट्स नहीं देना है, और घी भी अगर नहीं वो हजम कर पा रहा है, तो MCT oil can be added. I have seen good results in neonates or small babies, जिनमें weight gain is an issue. You can add MCT oil to their diet, to the home diets. So this is the gist of the nutritional part. अभी ये सब सुन के आपको जिग्नेश सर को चाय पीने का मन हो गया है, आई थिंक, नींद आ रही है। So just have a look. So these are the recommendation, a quote unquote recommendation by the IAP. What is persistent diarrhea is जब 14 days तक, 1 or 2 weeks तक होता है, तो then you tend to limit the lactose and the osmolar. Again, another thing which they have included in the formula, अभी even TV में सब लोग बताते हैं ना, DHA दो ब्रेन के लिए, ARA दो. So what is that? क्या है, नया चीज आ गया ऐसे लगता है, बट ऐसा कुछ नहीं है. वो मदर्स मिल्क में हमेशा से था, but because very few working women are doing genuinely breastfeeding their children for exclusively 6 months, we need all those things to be added to the formulas. They are non-protein nitrogenous compounds. They have seen to have beneficial effects on the growth of the intestinal epithelium. They have significant effect on the immunity also, on the neural mechanisms also, on the brain development also, on the gut immunity flora, मतलब जो pathogenic, non-pathogenic microbiome है हमारे gut का. So ये सब चीज में इसका रोल है. तो this is an important component of breast milk, जो artificial milk में नहीं था और जो cow's milk में नहीं मिल रहा था बच्चों को, तो उन्होंने ऐड किया हुआ है. So as I said, I already talked about medium chain triglyceride. It causes higher weight gain, and it is safe. No vomiting, dehydration, or fat intolerance is seen. Coming, so we discussed, ORS, and we discussed the nutritional parameters. ये अभी मैं आपको समझा दिया. Another is zinc. I'm sure कि nowadays, at least, क्योंकि because of COVID, thanks to COVID, zinc has become, like omnipresent. एक funny चीज बोलूं तो there is one watchman in every old building, गुरखा बोलते हैं. उससे तुम जो काम करा, वो गाड़ी भी साफ करता है, गेट भी खोलता है, दूध भी लाके देता है, खाना लाके, ग्रोसरी लाके देता है, मल्टीपर्पज आदमी है. उसकी किसी को पड़ी नहीं होती, उसको कोई जानता नहीं है. पर जिस दिन एक भी दिन उसने छुट्टी लिया और वो नहीं रहा, गांव चला गया, तो सबको उसकी कमी महसूस होती है. सिमिलर वे जिंक को बोल सकते हैं हम. तो जिंक इज वन थिंग, इट इज ओमनी प्रेजेंट इनसाइड अस. हर जगह है बॉडी में. 300 एंजाइम्स, enzymatic reactions में it is used. It is a micronutrient, but छोटा पैकेट बड़ा धमाका है. So it is in young children who have frequent episodes of diarrhea, especially जो चाय वगैरह लेते हैं, phytate rich foods लेते हैं, they are deficient in zinc. It is not present. In Indian population, we are deficient in zinc. So, one more, sorry, I want to tell that non-vegetarian foods are the main sources. I'm not sure if you saw that slide, but it is, I'm not mentioned non-vegetarian food because Indian diet में majority are vegetarian diet. So in vegetarian diet, only nuts, seeds, leguminous diet, good quality diet में होता है. खाली आप जो रोटी दाल चावल में खाओगे तो नहीं मिलेगा वो zinc. What is the mechanism of action of zinc? Multiple functions. The main, it inhibits the secretory diarrhea, acting on the basolateral potassium channels in the gut. It enhances the absorption of water electrolytes. It improves the restoration of the intestinal epithelium and the immune response, obviously, as you all know. So this is it. I'm not going to mention each one, but zinc is multiple uses. There are different ways you can give zinc. I have not made it to a slide. I'm sure you know there are disposable tablets, there are drops, and there are powders. All of them are effective in all types of diarrhea. You don't have to think when you are giving zinc. कि bloody diarrhea हो रहा है, दूं के नहीं दूं, ये हो रहा है, dehydrated है patient, दूं के नहीं दूं. This is one thing you don't have to think, क्योंकि हर type में उसने काम किया है और हर तरह से reducing the stool output as well as frequency. Everyone knows the dosage. I hope everyone knows the dosage. It is 20 milligram per day. And in children less than 6 months, 10 milligram per day. Interesting fact is, recently हमारे किसी colleague ने इस पे research किया, क्योंकि क्या होता था, बहुत से बच्चे जब जिंक लेते हैं तो उनका जो वॉमिटिंग, अभी अकेला डायरिया लेके तो नहीं आता है, बच्चा comes with pain, vomiting, fever, everything. तो vomiting used to worsen, bloating used to worsen, vomiting used to worsen. So just 20 milligram वो ऐसे फिक्स नहीं रखना है. ओवरडोज नहीं होना चाहिए. कोई ORS बेस्ड जिंक भी दे रहा है, ये भी दे रहा है, वो भी दे रहा है. So overdose may cause increase in vomiting. So that are especially in child who is more of vomiting and less of diarrhea, you may decrease the dose to 10 milligram per day and try to give it as a single dose. When you tend to write it as twice, you give syrups और आपने 2 बार दिया. These mothers use spoons sometimes. They may, abhi 5 ml as 20 ml. So they may give 5 ml twice daily. So that will be overdose. If they are not giving the 2.5 ml. Again, drops is a good, there are calibrated droppers. You can give it in a proper way. But mothers, we don't know if they are counting the drops or, they're counting the ml. We always write in the prescription as ml. But when it reaches the baby's mouth, it all depends on the mother. So I would say play it safe. If the child is vomiting, you may decrease it to 10 ml. Again, why is the ideal daily dose and duration of zinc? तो क्या फर्क पड़ता है कि 14 दिन अभी हो गया ना, 2-4 दिन में डायरिया ठीक हो गया तो बंद क्यों नहीं? इतना बड़ा बॉटल देते हो जिंक का, फिर वो क्या फेंक देने का? और what? So it is important to tell the mother to zinc is one thing. उसके लिए अच्छी चीज है, दवाई नहीं है, नुकसान नहीं करेगा, तो 14 डेज के लिए दो. वाई? हाँ, थोड़ा अपना नुकसान हो जाएगा, बच्चा बार बार जुलाब लेके आएगा नहीं, बट बच्चे का फायदा हो जाएगा. तो गिव इट फॉर अ complete therapy as 2 weeks. So this I have already mentioned. Is there an impact of zinc supplementation on vomiting? I hope you all have gone through this. And then one more thing, as I said, overdose. So what will it cause? It will cause iron deficiency and copper deficiency, because it is a competitive inhibitor. So if more zinc goes inside your body, less of copper is absorbed. That is. So copper deficiency can occur with the more than 2 times of recommended dietary allowance. So what is the usual dietary allowance? It is different for different age group, but I say lagbhag bola jaye to 10 milligram per day is the usual dietary allowance. 2 times is 20 mg. Uske upar you should not. So this is, we always follow WHO, IAP guidelines. So World Health Organization has said, regardless of etiology, regardless of the cause, give the zinc. Now coming to the next, the antimicrobial therapy. I'm sure y'all have stalwarts at this even better than me, and we have, this cannot be determined ideally. If agar sach bolo, to it cannot be determined on day one, because अंतर्यामी कोई भी नहीं है. No one can pinpoint कि ये इसी कारण से होगा और मुझे ये देंगे तो relief हो जाएगा. You cannot say that. So ideal thing is to get a stool culture and antibiotic sensitivity done. In cases where the diarrhea has persisted despite giving the other methods like ORS, zinc, and the usual methods which we have given, and diarrhea persists, go ahead with stool culture and antibiotic sensitivity. That will clear the picture. But in cases where you have to start an empirical antibiotic, in bloody diarrhea, severe dehydration and everything. So this I mentioned for persistent, but the same goes for acute as well. The trend which is coming on nowadays, we know that we are giving fluoroquinolones, fluoxetins dete, we are giving, metronidazole, we are giving cephalosporins, and we are giving antihelminthics also. Okay, sab de do kuch na kuch kaam karega, but aisa nahi hai. What is coming trend now, what Nelson mentions and what is coming is azithromycin is found to be a good first or second line of defense in many diarrheas, which might be resistant to other antibiotics. So the dose of azithromycin remains the same, 10 milligram per kg per dose, usually given as a OD dose for 5 days. But textbook dose mentions that 12 milligram per kg on the first day, and then you continue as 6 milligram. Last but not the least, जब सब कुछ, there are secretory diarrheas. So osmotic diarrhea versus secretory diarrhea, as we know. Osmotic diarrhea में mother will complain कि कुछ भी खाता तो होता है, that is the main thing. Secretory diarrheas में whatever you do, it is pouring diarrhea. Large amount of water is secreted. So then we have to use this anti-secretory agents, which is a two-way sword. In kids, we don't recommend IAP and all. They come to it as the last resort or, limit its use, because you don't know how much if it affects it. If it affects more, it may lead to bloating and constipation and again worsen the vomiting. So what is the mechanism of action? As you can see, it is an enkephalinase inhibitor. So that is an enzyme which inhibits and by pathway of cyclic AMP, it decreases the push. See, there is a push mechanism which causes secretory diarrhea and the pull mechanism which causes osmotic. So this decreases that push mechanism type of diarrheas. Whatever you do, it just pours. So you can stop it at the source by using enkephalinase inhibitors, racecatrotide. Anti-motility, low motors and all we don't give in the kids, because again due to the side effect profile of it. Even this has some adverse effects. As I said, vomiting is there. Some children may react to it by having a allergy or skin rash, but it's not commonly seen, and this is to be discontinued after the diarrhea settles, and this does not have to be given as a complete course of 5 days, I would say. It can give as a SOS basis, you can give it. Or at least 3 days you can. So the role is controversial. The dose is 1.5 milligram per kg per dose. And as I said, this sums it up. There are various preparations of Rasicatrotil, but the dose will always be the same around, 10. So I think this is the last part of my presentation, the role of probiotic. But this is not the last, it is the most important part, I would say. Newer insights. What newer insights after this COVID and after all these things, current studies have shown us that we are an ecosystem. We are not having disease. It's a full system. Our body is a complete system which, when once affected, it causes a derangement in multiple systems. So that is where the role of gut microbiota comes. हम लोग के अंदर 10⁻11 जीवित माइक्रो ऑर्गेनिजम्स है और हमको पता ही नहीं. There are germs inside our body which are running our body, which are affecting every aspect of our life. हमारा bowel movements कैसे है, how much we can absorb, digest, to the brain function, to our immunity, whether COVID हमको होएगा कि नहीं, everything, this gut microorganisms are deciding nowadays. These are our friendly bacteria. These are our real soldiers. Which chukke baitha, they are hiding in the large intestine, and they fight for us. So how they do it? They cause a physical barrier. So now we are coming to probiotics. So probiotics are friendly bacteria. They mimic the friendly bacteria which are there in our gut. We have normal friendly bacteria in our gut. Probiotics are other friendly bacteria which we are taking as medicines to help the friendly bacteria in our gut. They colonize the gut, they go to the gut, they form a colony over there, and they do certain actions which are like a barrier for other organisms and other viruses, fungi and everything, because they compete for the nutrients. Whatever nutrients are there in our body, if they take up all the nutrients, there are no nutrients left for the viruses, bacteria and fungi. And so obviously they die. So competitive inhibition bhi hota hai. So because competitive inhibition, physical barrier, there are complex mechanisms. There are endocrine influences also. There are gut endocrine mechanisms by which also these probiotics affect our gut. So they are live substances that favor advantageous bacterial growth. There are basically two. They are either cultured bacteria given in packets, or they are yeast, like Yakult or Saccharomyces. They modify the intestinal microflora and metabolic activities. They are non-pathogenic. मतलब उन लोग with probiotic कोई पूछते हैं, see these are live organisms. क्या इससे diarrhea हो सकता है? हाँ, see we don't know. There are still studies. We don't know the genuineness, the storage, how the product is. So that is why you should use reliable probiotics. We don't know what will be the effect in human society if we start using lot of probiotics, but from not a reliable source. So the source is important in probiotic. If it's a reliable source, if it is used only for medicinal purposes, so we can safely say that they are not pathogenic. So as you see, common ones which we encounter in our practice are Lactobacillus and Bifidobacterium, Saccharomyces boulardii and Bacillus clausii. There are many others, but I'll limit my this thing to these few. And then again, some may say that we don't want to give artificial. Can we go for, the highly educated parents they go on diet, more on diet rather than medicines. So then you can say you give fermented foods, which are probiotics. But, those things will not, there are 10 raised to millions, trillions of probiotics, microorganisms. So that you cannot get with one diet, So it is a concentrated thing which you are giving when you are giving it as a medicine. Non-pathogenic, non-toxic, resistant to gastric acid. This point I would like to elaborate. So when different brands you see, and what is the importance of capsulation? Matlab, they say the sports of probiotics which they are giving in their brand, they say they are capsulated. What is the importance? Why would you choose a encapsulated probiotic over a non-encapsulated? I understand price is definitely a issue in the Indian market कि जो कम रहेगा, but you have to understand कि it should not be a placebo. The probiotic which your patient is paying so much and buying and giving, ऐसा नहीं होना चाहिए कि it is just the child takes the probiotic, it goes to the stomach, it is just, it is not resistant to the bile acid and stomach acid and it is dissolved over there. So there is no viable action in the colon. There will be no benefit to your patient even if you are giving. So it has to be encapsulated, or it has to be resistant to the stomach acids and the bile acids. So that is one feature of the probiotic you need to check. The strain of the probiotic, as I said, you need to check whether the Lactobacillus rhamnosus GG, or a Lactobacillus reuteri, or a Saccharomyces boulardii, or a Bacillus clausii. So which we know in studies, there are studies going on those, which are beneficial. They have found to be beneficial. So just giving a mixture and you don't know the specifications makes a difference. So action of probiotics, as I said, this I've already discussed. Just go through it. So the recent thing is that it can even prevent cancer, So I would call this, ये तो रजनीकांत है. This is the Rajnikant of all medicines now. Everything is possible. The probiotic can heal anything, they say. Like if it heals the gut, you can heal your brain, you can heal your heart, you can heal your immune system, you can prevent cancers, you can prevent metabolic disorders. So this, not just probiotics, maintaining your normal gut microbiome is very important in today's COVID scenario, and generally in today's lifestyle. So that is why I may put this like that. You have to know that it can affect the whole aspect of your life, right from your intestine, your cholesterol, your diabetes, your endocrine, your allergy, again, in allergic asthmas and everything. This is one thing we have found, that probiotics also help in that. So I'm all for probiotics, but it should be with a good strain. It should have good storage conditions and non-pathogenic. What are prebiotics? There's what terms are prebiotic, probiotics, synbiotics. This is the last part, so I would just want you to listen to me. So there is the first term, which is the mother term, is eubiosis. So what is eubiosis? Eubiosis is the biome, the general balance in our biome. Life में जो balance है, that is eubiosis. जब वो गड़बड़ हो जाता है, simple way में समझा रही हूँ, so that is dysbiosis. Dysbiosis. आपने एंटीबायोटिक दिया, बीमारी हो गया, इतने सारे दवाई ले रहे हैं, रोज दवाई ले रहे हैं, तो सो नहीं रहे हैं हम लोग जैसे, रात तक जागते हैं, नेटफ्लिक्स देखो, ये देखो, वो देखो, टेंशन है, स्ट्रेस है, दोपहर को काम करना है, whatever. So the balance of life is disturbed. Your eubiosis, which was there in your gut microbiome, जो टाइम पे खा रहे थे, सो रहे थे, इम्यूनिटी अच्छी थी, वो अगर बैलेंस खराब हो गया, तो देयर इज अ टर्म कॉल्ड एज डिसबायोसिस. उस डिसबायोसिस को ठीक करने वाला अगर आर्टिफिशियल लाइव ऑर्गेनिज्म हम देते हैं, which is pro that biosis, जो उसको प्रमोट करता है, which is promoting that eubiosis in your life, so that is a probiotic. और उस प्रोबायोटिक का जो खाना है, अगर बोले कि हमको बैक्टीरिया तो दे दोगे, पर उसको खाने लायक जो उसके न्यूट्रिशन है, अगर हमने वो नहीं दिया तो वो ऑर्गेनिज्म अंदर जाकर भी मर जाएगा, इट वोंट लिव. सो उसका खाना स्पेशल होता है, उसका खाना वो अच्छी चीजें होती है जो हमने खाना छोड़ दिया है, जो जंक फूड में नहीं है. सो दीज आर द प्रीबायोटिक्स. दे आर फर्मेंटेड, they are the selectively fermented ingredients, that confers benefits both on the host as well as the probiotic. Now, probiotic, when you give with prebiotic, when you give with probiotic, so they are called as symbiotics. There is nothing, say, body terminologies, but these are simple things. Everyone acts on your gut microbiome. इसमें इम्पोर्टेंस है ये partially digestible या non digestible. So if it is digested, any nutrition, if it is digestible, how it will reach to your colon? It will not reach. If it is digested earlier on, so it will go inside you, it will get absorbed. It will not reach the microorganism. So therein comes the action of fermented. पुराने दादी माँ, नानी माँ का जो बात था, fermented food खाना, मतलब जो भिगा के रखते थे रात को, या कंजी खाना या इडली खाना, ये क्यों इंपॉर्टेंट था उस समय भी? सो दोज आर नेचुरल प्रीबायोटिक्स, दोज वर एक्टिंग एज नेचुरल प्रीबायोटिक्स. वो फर्मेंट होते थे और उसके जो कार्बोहाइड्रेट्स थे वो अब्सॉर्ब नहीं होते थे, दैट यूज्ड टू गो डाउन. देयर इज अ बिग टर्म फॉर दैट, यू नो, फ्रक्टो ओलिगोसैकेराइड्स, यू नो, बट द फंडा इज द सेम. Now, so which one you use? As I said, there is promising news on Lactobacillus rhamnosus GG and Clostridium difficile in every type of diarrheas nowadays, even in antibiotic associated. Antibiotic associated diarrhea and traveler's diarrhea used to prefer Saccharomyces boulardii. Pediatric diarrhea, I would say there is one more newer agent, Lactobacillus reuteri. Reuteri. You know, you get those drops nowadays, which are also beneficial in infant colic. Many mothers come to you with diarrhea, but not infective diarrhea. These are diarrheas in neonates or paraneonates, you know, where the sorry. So because their gut is immature, they are having those diarrheas. I would say infantile diarrheas. There, you know, even there is a role of prebiotics. So what are the commercial? I didn't get slides for these. So I'm just saying that whatever the commercial preparation you're using, don't go on the name, go on the strain. What strain you are using, go on the source. So with this, I conclude my topic. I hope you all have had your siesta or you're awake for your tea time.
So thank you, Dr. Hema Yadav. Thank you very much for wonderful presentation, and also highlighting various headers and important points which will be useful to all us and all our practitioners in treating a diarrheal patient, right? One or two points I just want to highlight, like definitely diarrhea is the second most leading cause of deaths of children below 5 years of age. You can hear me, right?
Yes, yes, sir.
Yeah. So 2017 में सेंसस हुआ था जिसमें कॉज ऑफ डेथ्स बिलो 5 इयर्स का बच्चे लोग का देखा था, तो 3 लाख लोग बच्चे अंडर 5 इयर्स खाली डायरिया से मरे थे. एंड 3 लाख इज अ बिग अमाउंट एक्चुअली. और वो देखने के बाद ही हमारे प्राइम मिनिस्टर डॉक्टर मिस्टर नरेंद्र मोदी ने रोटावायरस का सारी गवर्नमेंट सेटअप्स में चालू किया था. 4 डिकेड से वही का वही ट्रीटमेंट चल रहा है और काफ़ी फ़ायदा भी हो रहा है. लेकिन न्यूअर ड्रग्स अभी आ रहे हैं, बहुत सारे न्यूअर ड्रग्स है, जैसे गैलेक्टोमाइंस है, फिर इटॉक्सोडुलिन्स है, तो एंटी फंगल जैसे क्लोट्रामेक्सोसोल है, वो भी उन लोग अभी यूज़ करने वाले हैं. तो वो सारी चीज़ अभी यूएस में तो उन लोग ने इटॉक्सोडुलिन्स तो चालू भी कर दिया है देने का, तो ग्रेजुअली वो इंडिया में आएंगे भी जो फ़ायदा करेंगे. 2-3 पॉइंट्स है, जैसे हम रेसिकाडोटिल देते हैं, हमारे पास पेशेंट्स काफ़ी आते हैं, जैसे किसी ने रेसिकाडोटिल जो अपना इनफ सैशेस बोलते हैं ना, रीफ्लोराल सैशेस, वो दिया रहता है, तो थोड़े डोजेज में प्रॉब्लम्स रहते हैं जिससे बच्चों को प्रॉब्लम होते हैं. जनरल डोजेज अगर बोलना है, बच्चों को 10 किलो का बच्चा है तो उसको 1 सैशे दिन में 3 बार देना है, सुबह शाम रात पूरा सैशे. उसको आप पानी में मिला के भी दे सकते हो, 5 ml पानी में, या फिर दाल चावल खाता रहेगा बच्चा तो उसमें डाल के भी दे सकते हो. 3 बार 3 दिन देना है, उतना ही देना है. थोड़ा भी ऊपर नीचे हो जाता है तो बच्चों को कॉम्प्लिकेशन उसके कारण भी हो सकते हैं, जैसे ब्लोटिंग है, कॉन्स्टिपेशन भी बाद में चालू हो जाता है बच्चों को, तो वो एक कारण है. दूसरा चीज मैं बोलना चाहता हूँ कि ओआरएस डेफिनेटली डॉक्टर हेमा यादव ने स्ट्रेस किया है, विच इज अ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट पार्ट इन द ट्रीटमेंट ऑफ डायरिया. बट कभी कभी ऐसा होता है कि ORS बच्चे ज़्यादा ले लेते हैं, माएँ बहुत देती है उनको, तो ORS के भी कॉम्प्लिकेशन, हाइपर ऑस्मोलर ये डायरिया हो सकता है, हाइपरनेट्रेमिक डायरिया हो सकता है बच्चों को, इसलिए ORS का भी प्रॉपर से यूज़ किया जाना चाहिए। एक सिंपल वे कह सकते हैं, जैसे बच्चों माँ को बोलना है 1 गिलास पानी लेना है, 120 ml जितना लेना है, उसके अंदर 1 चिपटी नमक डालनी है और 1 चम्मच शक्कर डालो, घोलो और वो पिलाते रहो। अगर ORS उनको नहीं जमता है, इंग्लिश पढ़ने नहीं आता है कि ऐसे बनाना है, तो खाली इतना समझाएंगे और देते रहेंगे तो भी काफी फायदा बच्चे को होगा रिहाइड्रेशन में।
Yeah, I would like to add to this. You are right. Though there is, there is no upper limit to this thing, as you rightly pointed. But
Yes.
but we have to say, the general this thing is, half a liter. I always say, another point is what they give in the water. जो पानी जो लेते हैं, माँ नहीं समझती है, boiled water
Yeah.
ले. तो ये हाइड्रेट करना है कि rehydrate the boiled water which is cooled, या साफ पानी. सिंपल एक बिस्लेरी का बॉटल मैं बोलती हूँ,
बराबर बराबर
1 लीटर का बोतल लो, उसमें एक बड़ा सैशेट मिला, तो
बराबर।
उसमें क्या है? ऐसा नहीं है कि पूरी खोला थोड़ा 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 करके दे. That is
Yeah.
very important.
Yeah.
They take the sachet, but the proper dosage is not given. So
Right.
what I say, 1 liter का bottle if they take, you make it once. वो पूरा 24 घंटा चलता है, and you know कि बच्चे ने कितना पिया है, and most 10 kg you can give 500 ml safely, और बड़े बच्चे कितने भी ले सकते हैं. There is not an issue. This issue is only for younger children. So 500 ml is okay, 50 to 100 ml per kg, and additional losses for each stool.
एंड मैं जनरली प्रैक्टिस में ग्लूकॉन डी जो देते हैं, जनरली जब भी देखा तो मदर लेके आती है पैकेट के, सर ये दे रही हूँ मैं उसको, ग्लूकॉन डी मैं जनरली अवॉइड करने को बोलता हूँ, बिकॉज उससे ऑस्मोटिक डायरिया बढ़ जाता है, क्योंकि बहुत से बच्चों माँ को लगती है कि ग्लूकोज और पानी और इसमें सब कुछ है, तो उनको इनफैक्ट उसमें
नमक एंड शक्कर,
यस दैट्स ऑल, तो उसमें खाली ग्लूकोज में बहुत सारे उन लोग को एडेड फ्लेवर्स भी रहते हैं, जिसके कारण भी बहुत बार ऑस्मोटिक डायरियास हो जाते हैं. अभी अपने पास बहुत से मदर्स ऐसे भी आते हैं कि बच्चा खाना खाता है और मोशन के लिए जाता है, खाना खाता है मोशन के लिए, बुखार नहीं है, कुछ नहीं है. दीज आर ऑल्सो ऑस्मोटिक डायरियाज. ऑस्मोटिक डायरियाज खाली फूड से रिलेटेड रहते हैं. फूड में ऑल्टरेशन करो, जैसे एक टाइमिंग है खाने में, अगर दूध और चावल ज़्यादा खाता है तो उसको और कम करो, दूसरा चीज़ बढ़ाओ, तो ऑटोमेटिकली ट्रीटमेंट हो जाता है, क्योंकि हाफ ऑफ द पेशेंट ऐसे ही आते हैं, बच्चा खाना खाता है, लूज मोशन करता है, तो उसके लिए खाली ऑल्टरेशन ऑफ फूड की ही जरूरत है, बाकी ज़्यादा ट्रीटमेंट की जरूरत नहीं है. Rema, I want to ask you one thing, कि आपके डेली प्रैक्टिस में which are the probiotics that you generally prefer?
See, as I said, I recently the gastroenterology leading gastroenterologist from India, from Chennai, did a survey on all the अपना local Indian probiotics, जैसे कि ये Enterogermina हो गया, जैसे कि Econom हो गए, all those जो commonly हम लोग use करते हैं, not me but everyone, either in suspension form or powder form. So he found out if what is given on the packet is not grown on culture. अभी लिखा रहेगा Bacillus clausii दिया है Enterogermina में, तो वो उन्होंने देखा कि ठीक है ग्रो हो रहा है, Bacillus clausii ग्रो हो रहा है, ठीक है. Econom में दिया है Saccharomyces boulardii, तो वो ग्रो हो रहा है, ठीक है, Saccharomyces boulardii. पर जो बाकी है, जो miscellaneous companies के various companies coming with different brands, तो बोलते हैं Bacillus clausii, पर निकलता है Bacillus cereus. ओके, बोलते हैं इतने 10⁵ बिलियन स्पोर्स है, बट उतना ग्रो नहीं. देयर आर नो फाइंडिंग्स टू प्रूव दैट. और स्ट्रेन भी है. अभी रिसेंटली एक जैसे इकोनॉम का हो गया, जीनोम हो गया, तो आई वांट टू आस्क, समवन प्रमोटेड मी, सो आई सेड दैट, but if it is strain, is it strain specific? There are particular strains which they have to mention on it. The OC, RNIT, they have to mention it. The number they have to mention of the mother culture, they have to mention. So these are not mentioned. So I stick to these 5 you could say: Enterogermina, Enteroplus, Econom, Gut Pro, and I think Gut Gain.
Okay, rightly said. 1 or 2 points again. एज रिलेटेड प्रोबायोटिक्स भी रहते हैं, जैसे लेस देन 5 months के बच्चे आते हो तो ल्यूट्री बोलते हैं, वो देते हैं हम लोग, क्योंकि जनरली उनका गट रहता है थोड़ा एसिडिक रहता है, और ल्यूट्री सर्वाइव्स वेल इन द एसिडिक गट. 5 months के बाद में देना है तो हम जैसे रीनिफॉल जेड है, रीनिक्लॉसी है, जिसमें सैक्रोमाइसिस बुलार्डी है, वेरी वेल. अभी तक के सारे अच्छे रिजल्ट उसमें आए हैं, बट रिसेंट वन LGG है विच इज शोइंग अ वेरी प्रॉमिसिंग रिजल्ट. रिनीफॉल जेड अगर हम 6 दिन देते तो रिजल्ट मिलता है. LGG में वी हैव सीन पर्सनल प्रैक्टिस में भी कि 3 दिन में वी हैव सीन गुड रिजल्ट. डेफिनेटली प्रोबायोटिक.
Unibiotics, sorry I forgot.
यस यूनोबायोटिक.
Unibiotics.
हाँ, दो कॉस्ट में ज्यादा है थोड़ा, लेकिन दिन में एक ही सैशे देना है जिसके अंदर 6 मिलियन स्पोर्स लिखा रहेगा. एक ही सैशे दिन में देना है. बच्चा अच्छी तरह ले भी रहता है, टेस्ट वाइज भी अच्छा है. तो दिन में एक ही सैशे 3 दिन तक देके बहुत अच्छा रिजल्ट मिलता है LGG से, विच प्राइवेटली मैंने देखा भी है मेरे प्रैक्टिस में. एंड डेफिनेटली उसके बाद में बहुत सारे हैं, बट दिस टू आर सैक्रोमाइसिस बुलार्डी और LGG आफ्टर 5 मंथ्स अपने देंगे तो बहुत अच्छी तरह उसका रिजल्ट आते हैं.
Yeah, or even Protectis.
Yeah, Umna Protectis.
But see, I didn't want to go into the,
Yeah.
I want others to decide what brands they want for themselves.
Yeah,
So these are the criteria I've mentioned.
Yes.
So I just mentioned the L-Lutri drops, that is Protectis.
Okay.
So why I would say, as we come to less than 5 month का आपने बोला ना कि वो है, तो gut में एक और चीज मुझे बोलना है. So there is something called as hind milk foremilk imbalance.
Yeah.
तो वो दिस इज इंटरेस्टिंग केस क्योंकि वो बहुत से डॉक्टर्स के पास जाता है और ठीक नहीं होता है. प्रोबायोटिक्स भी दो तो भी नहीं. देयर इज वन थिंग कि किसी भी चीज से नहीं ठीक हुआ, सब चीज से नहीं हुआ. L-Lutri इससे भी नहीं ठीक होगा तो क्या कारण है? So there is one entity called as hind milk foremilk imbalance related to breastfed babies. Whenever the breastfed baby, especially 1 month old babies and all, mother's breast is engorged with milk. वो फोर मिल्क इतना होता है, इट इज वाटरी पार्ट. हाइंड मिल्क वो मिल्क होता है जो बच्चा के खींचने के बाद कुछ समय बाद आता है, विच इज वेरी थिक एंड इट हैज मोर ऑफ फैट कंटेंट. ऑस्मोटिक ओवरलोड कम रहता है, उसमें सॉलिड कम रहता है. फोर मिल्क पे ज्यादा. भूख के मारे बच्चा जब फर्स्ट फोर मिल्क ज्यादा लेता है तो उसको इमीडिएटली स्टूल पास होता है. एंड स्टूल भी समटाइम्स में बी ग्रीनिश, इट मे बी फ्रॉदी, तो इट लुक्स लाइक डायरिया. मदर इज वरीड कि बच्चा जैसे ही दूध पीता है डायरिया होता है. तो दिस इज समथिंग तो इट गोज टू वेरियस कंसल्टेंट्स और वेरियस डॉक्टर्स. वी गिव एंटीबायोटिक्स, प्रोबायोटिक्स, सब कुछ दिया पर नहीं ठीक हो रहा है. सो दिस इज बिकॉज इट इज नॉट अ प्रॉब्लम ऑफ द गट. It is a physiological problem. It is a mechanical problem of giving the hind milk and fore milk. It needs lactation consultancy. So there are special lactation consultants or I myself and make them understand. You have to make them aware of the fore milk, hind milk concept. They have simple way में अगर बोलो आप अपने, अगर मदर आई तो उनको पूछना है कि दूध कैसे पिलाते हैं. एक छाती से पिला के तुरंत थोड़ा पिला के दूसरी छाती पे लगाते हैं या एक पूरा दे के बाद में दूसरे पे लगाते. यू नीड टू नो दैट. अगर ऐसा करते तो उनको अवॉइड करना है. ब्रेस्ट फीडिंग ऑन वन साइड कंप्लीटली, सो दैट बच्चे का वेट गेन भी अच्छा हो. हाइंड मिल्क लेगा, बच्चे का वजन बढ़ेगा. अगर बहुत एनगॉज्ड है बस तो थोड़ा शुरू का ब्रेस्ट मिल्क कटोरी में निकाल देना है. दिस इज अ सिंपल एडवाइस. प्रैक्टिकली मैंने पेशेंट में फॉलो किया है और इतने सारे दवाई लेने के बाद जो उसका डायरिया नहीं ठीक हुआ था, जस्ट डिस्कार्ड द फोर मिल्क, फर्स्ट पार्ट ऑफ द फोर मिल्क in a small katori, discard it and then put the baby to feeding. So the child will not have more of fore milk, he will have a fore milk hind milk balance. Otherwise another thing is fasting mat karao बच्चे को. सो रहा है बच्चा बहुत देर या मदर इज बिजी, बहुत लंबे समय तक गैप जब हम देते हैं, लॉन्ग गैप बिटवीन टू ब्रेस्ट फीड will also cause this fore milk hind milk imbalance. तो उसमें हम सेकेंड पार्ट ऑफ मोडालिटी ऑफ ट्रीटमेंट, ऐसा कोई पेशेंट आए जिसको ये प्रॉब्लम है तो सेकेंड मोडालिटी इज फ्रीक्वेंट फीडिंग. बार बार ब्रेस्ट फीडिंग दे सकते हैं. Okay, so this is like about fore milk. There are various positions of, there are details of it. I will not go into it. Simple आपके ओपिनियन में अगर आपको ऐसा लगा कि न्यूबॉर्न है और जिसका नहीं ठीक हो रहा है, दो चीज याद रखना है. ये फोर मिल्क हाइंड मिल्क इम्बैलेंस के बारे में पूछना है कि बहुत एनगॉज्ड है क्या, दूध बहुत ज्यादा आता है क्या, एक दोनों साइड से मिक्स करके पिलाते हो क्या, एक पूरा खाली होता है कि नहीं एक छाती, ये पूछना है. दूसरा लैक्टोज इंटॉलरेंस के हिसाब से पूछना है. नॉर्मली भी 12 हफ्तों तक फिजियोलॉजिकल लैक्टोज इंटॉलरेंस रहता है, तो बेबी का गट ही मैच्योर नहीं है, तो यू जस्ट हैव टू काउंसिल द मदर, or you have to give L-Lutri. So you give Protectis drop and के कोलिक नहीं होगा. उसको समझाना है कि बच्चे का गट इमैच्योर है, ऊपर से दवाई दे रहे हैं तो उसको ये सब प्रॉब्लम्स नहीं होंगी। आगे जाके 12 हफ्तों के बाद जैसे जैसे बड़ा होते जाएगा बच्चा, ये प्रॉब्लम नहीं होंगे। 6 महीने के बाद देखा गया है कि टोटल 36 वीक्स तक ये चलता है। इवन 8 to 9 months ऑफ ओल्ड बेबीज कैन हैव सम अमाउंट ऑफ लैक्टोज इंटॉलरेंस। जब हम कॉम्प्लीमेंट्री फीडिंग इंट्रोड्यूस करते हैं बच्चे को विद द ब्रेस्ट मिल्क, तब देखा जाता है कि डायरिया। तो कॉमन कंडीशन बोलते हैं कि बच्चे को दांत आ रहा है इसीलिए जुलाब हो रहा है, बच्चे को दांत आ रहा है इसीलिए जुलाब नहीं हो रहा है, बच्चे को आपने कॉम्प्लीमेंट्री फीडिंग स्टार्ट किया है, कुछ बच्चों का गट इमेच्योर है, तो वो लोड ले नहीं पा रहा है, इसके लिए वो डायरिया हो रहा है। डाइट चेंजेस करो, हो जाएगा। दूसरा, आपको देना है तो ये सेफ प्रोबायोटिक्स दो, बट कितने दिन दोगे ना? 21 डेज बोलते हैं जो ड्रॉप्स है, 21 डेज देना है आपको। द L-Reuteri or Protectus you give for 21 days course, 5 drops daily with the breast milk. Okay, but another, if she can modify the child's complementary feed, if you can, colic is one thing which can create havoc in a mother's mind. So diet modifications of the mother too might be required. IBS, coming to older kids, जैसे आपने बोला अभिजीत कि यंग बच्चे का अलग है बड़े बच्चों का, तो अभी प्रोबायोटिक्स इन ओल्डर किड्स और मैनेजमेंट ऑफ डायरिया, कुछ भी नहीं है उसको, बच्चा ठीक है, फीवर नहीं है, कुछ नहीं है, बट अदर कंप्लेंट्स कि इसको है ना IBS है, मतलब बार बार डायरिया कॉन्स्टिपेशन होता है, तो उसको कैसे ठीक करेंगे? तो आप प्रोबायोटिक दोगे, उससे फर्क पड़ेगा, बट जब तक आप रूट कॉज पे नहीं जाओगे, जब तक आप उसका there is a psychological basis to it. That patient may I have received a 9 to 10-year-old kid with panic attack. So abhi, especially in this pandemic, जब vitamin D कम है, people are in their homes, children are not playing, there may be a psychological impact on the child. Any anxious child, you need to know whether your patient is sensitive child, anxious child है, exam tension है. सिर्फ एग्जाम टेंशन से नहीं होता है, I mean to say कि एक तो जेनेटिक कंपोनेंट होता है, the family is such, genetically वो लोग they are sensitive, and दूसरा कंपोनेंट होता है कि psychologically they are anxious, तो एंजाइटी में होता है। उसमें भी आप क्या दोगे? बड़ा बच्चा या कुछ भी नहीं है, you give probiotics but you take a diet. Third thing is cow's milk protein allergy. Have you encountered Abhijit cow's milk protein allergy?
Yeah, many a times recently, but very well treated on gradually on probiotics and maintaining the milk and food balance,
Yeah.
type of diet.
Yeah, the diet. So what I would like to say, then cow's milk protein allergy, again, it is something abroad, उसका बहुत सारा रिसर्च हुआ है, उधर ज्यादा होता है क्योंकि उधर हम लोग टॉप फीड ज्यादा देते हैं, इधर ज्यादा ब्रेस्ट फीडिंग होता है, तो cow's milk protein allergy, but I myself have encountered in my OPD, and वो you will not, some may mistake it for allergic phenomena to something else. Respiratory disease भी करके आ सकता है, rash करके आ सकता है, can present with full body rash, child is not able to breathe. You may think it is very serious, and it is serious definitely. You treat it, you treat the allergy part of it, but again it recurs. वापस ये ऐसा एपिसोड हो सकता है। तो cow's milk protein allergy में there are minimum 4 weeks तक आपको eliminate करना है। cow's milk पहले तो मैं बोलूंगी कि आपको कोई भी आपके पेशेंट को अवॉइड करना है फॉर 6 months एक्सक्लूसिव ब्रेस्ट फीड, नहीं हुआ तो एटलीस्ट 4 months तक बिल्कुल cow's milk नहीं देते हम। अगर देना पड़े डाइल्यूट करके नहीं देना है, दैट इज अ रॉन्ग कॉन्सेप्ट इन इंडियन सिनेरियो कि मैंने भैंस का दूध दिया, गाय का दूध दिया, डाइल्यूट करके दिया, दैट इज अ रॉन्ग कॉन्सेप्ट। तो डाइल्यूटेड cow's milk से एलर्जी नहीं होगा ऐसा नहीं है। ओके, cow's milk allergy can present even in diluted cow's milk or anything. Cow's milk स्टॉप करना पड़ेगा आपको 4 weeks के लिए, मतलब 1 month के लिए स्टॉप करना पड़ेगा। और उसके बाद दूसरा, अगर फॉर्मूला देते भी हो, ऐसा नहीं है कि जीवन भर वो नहीं पी सकता cow's milk, आप 4 weeks के बाद रीइंट्रोड्यूस करके देख सकते हो। अगर फिर से हुआ, then you should tell him that no, it is definitely cow's milk protein allergy, you have to avoid the cow's milk in that child. Then soy milk or the lactose free milk you can.
There are few questions others are asking, Hema. I'll just we are running out of time, so we'll just go through it. Which are the amylase rich food asked by Dr. Nilesh Mehta? So which are the amylase rich food?
See, green banana diet you can give, rice kanji you can give, so cereals are basically So these help in, proper weight maintenance of the child. And as I said, carbohydrate, fat, and protein. These three malabsorptions occurs.
Yeah.
So you have to give, if you are asking for artificial, Dabbe ka diet, I don't recommend. I usually, as I said, I don't recommend artificial. Home-based me, if you're asking. So green banana diet.
So basically whole grain food you mean to say?
Yeah, and whole grains.
Jawar and all.
Jawar and all, you have to.
Yeah, all right. One more question is there by Dr. Vinayak Desai. The mother is on antibiotic. What are the chances of diarrhea in a breastfed child?
Yes, there are. Studies don't say, but any change in the mother's biome will cause a change. May cause, and I've seen it causes a change in the child's. Simple reassurance to the mother can relieve it. Because it is not going to stay forever. Once the mother's condition is cleared, it goes away. Again, you can give probiotics, as we said, the probiotics which we prefer in less than 5 months old, you may very well give. But even if you don't give, it is self-limiting. But it may cause, I have experienced.
Personal experience ऐसा है कि very less drugs come in mother's milk. Few ones are like amoxicillins, कोई thyroid के drug रहेंगे, कीमोथेरेपी वगैरह रहेगा तो वो हाइपरटेंसिव ड्रग्स और इवन एंटी कन्वल्सन ड्रग, ये 5 ड्रग्स है जो मदर के मिल्क में आते हैं. वी हैव सीन लॉट ऑफ बेबीज कमिंग विद लूज मोशन जो एक महीने के 10 दिन के रहते हैं, जिसकी मदर डिलीवरी के बाद में गायनेकोलॉजिस्ट ने अमोक्सिसिलिन दिया रहता है तो उनके बच्चों का आता है क्योंकि 0.1% ड्रग दूध में आता है which is enough for the child to have a loose motion. So nothing to do, only probiotics to be given. Supportive treatment, that's all. Yeah. One more question is there. How common is chronic diarrhea in children? Is there any role of losartan in child or like in adults?
No, chronic diarrhea is first of all not common in healthy children. If your child is going towards a chronic diarrhea, which is by definition more than 14 days or till 30 days, it might even go beyond 30 days. So then you have to look for, any immunodeficiency in the child. Always, as I have studied under Dr. Mamta Manglani madam, we had a specialist ward for HIV. Always keep your antenna open for, HIV or other immunodeficiencies when you see a fungal diarrhea or a chronic diarrhea with cryptosporidium. So very healthy babies, it's not common. Another second thing is, as I said, keep this open for inflammatory bowel disorders. So which again has a genetic component. You may ask for family history of ulcerative colitis, Crohn's, or whatever. But not very commonly seen. But you get to know it because nothing will go beyond 30 days other than these few things.
You rightly said, history taking is very important for any illness, specifically diarrhea also. तो उससे आधा ट्रीटमेंट तो अपने को वहीं पे पता चल जाता है. ऐसा है. One more thing, the other question is similar. Commonest reason during drug causing antibiotic associated diarrhea and how to go ahead with it. Drug causing antibiotic associated diarrhea.
Don't give antibiotics unless necessary.
Yes, that is true.
And give the correct dose for the limited period. And okay, probiotics you can give. But ये ना नाक ऐसे पकड़ने वाली बात होगी. मतलब पहले तो 2 एंटीबायोटिक और फिर प्रोबायोटिक दो. उससे अच्छा मतलब limit your antibiotic usage. Antibiotics, even if a good antibiotic is given, suppose augmentin है अभी देना है जो सेफेलोस्पोरिन देना है और उससे अगर गट इफेक्ट होता है, इट इज कॉमन. उसमें वो एंटीबायोटिक खराब है ऐसा नहीं है. व्हाट आई वुड से दैट जुडिशियस यूज और रैशनल यूज ऑफ एंटीबायोटिक्स करेंगे और फिर अगर होता भी है तो अर्ली डायग्नोस करके इसको प्रोबायोटिक से करेंगे तो यू विल बी फाइन. तो हम किसी को लेबल नहीं कर सकते कि नहीं ये एंटीबायोटिक दो ही मत, इससे हो जाएगा, ऐसा कुछ नहीं है. डिपेंड पर्सन टू पर्सन, इंडिविजुअल गट माइक्रोबायोटा पे भी डिपेंड.
Please repeat the name of probiotic in less than 5 months and more than 5 months. Dr. Ashriya करके उन्होंने पूछा है.
Lactobacillus reuteri और ब्रांड नेम बोले तो Protectis. Yeah, Lactobacillus rhamnosus GG या Unobiotics Junior. It is safe even in less than 6 months. It is safe.
Yes. And above 5 months
And
is
below,
Saccharomyces boulardii.
above 5 months, yeah, Saccharomyces.
NLG, right? Yes. One more question from Dr. Hardik. Endocrinal reasons of diarrhea, how common in day-to-day practice?
Day-to-day practice not common. Again, as I said, VIP OMAs and all. So for me, at least I think Abhijit, you should say, or may some senior, your dad may be able, a better person to comment on that.
Endocrinal diarrhea we generally don't see much. Maybe diabetic ketoacidosis में थोड़े diarrhea हो जाते हैं when the sugar goes very high. But otherwise, we don't see much of endocrinal diabetic. We see, in fact, constipation in thyroid, hypothyroidism and all. We don't see endocrinal diarrhea much except for in ketoacidosis. That's all. And I just want to ask सबके लिए कि rotavirus हम कब सस्पेक्ट करते हैं पेशेंट में एंड हाउ टू गो फॉरवर्ड फॉर इट फॉर ऑल द प्रैक्टिशनर्स. यू नो समटाइम्स पेशेंट 10 दिन तक एंटी डायरियल लेते रहता है. इन द एंड it comes up, does the investigation and found to be a rotavirus. So when should we go ahead for a rotavirus investigation and treat the patient likely?
See, rotavirus, even if you treat rotaviral diarrhea, first you have to understand forms the major bulk of all viral diarrheas.
Yeah.
All viral diarrheas, and it comes with, it will come with the child will first complain of vomiting and fever rather than diarrhea starting. But when it comes with copious amount of watery diarrhea. There'll be mucus. You do a stool routine. You will do for so many days when the diarrhea is not stopping. You will do a stool routine first. So आ गया उसमें कि चलो mucus plus आ गया. So you suspect के है ठीक है. And antibiotics you have already given sometimes, and it is not controlling. So the child is getting dehydrated very fast because the amount of the watery diarrhea is so much in that. So amount of the rate at which dehydration occurs is fast, and whatever you give it's not getting controlled. So that is the security. So rotaviral diarrhea, even if by the time you diagnose, you diagnose, but by the time you diagnose, it is major part of it is already over. Yeah. What is more important, I would say, in my practice is, please, if they can afford, if your patients can afford, go ahead. Why not go ahead with rotavirus vaccination? There are many vaccines which IAP recommends. There is a huge gap in vaccines which IAP recommends and which अपना normal BMC में जो दिया जाता है. मैं सबको नहीं बोलती हूँ कि नहीं आप ये दे दीजिए, मेनिंगोकोकल दो, ये दो, वो दो. I don't say. Obviously, 1000, 2000, 2000, 4000 की वैक्सीन कैसे सब लोग अफोर्ड करें? But rotavirus, I feel, in our setup, it is beneficial. इतना तो आप मूवी देखने में वगैरह खर्च कर देते हैं. And if you give that Rotarix or Rotatec or Rotavac any, there are 3 strains of rotavirus vaccination. आप important point है, मदर को तुरंत बोलना है. 6 weeks में दोगे तो इफेक्टिव है. 12 weeks से पहले फर्स्ट डोज जाएगा तो अच्छा है, और 8 month के बाद दोगे तो कुछ यूज इतना नहीं है. So प्राइमिंग पहले होना चाहिए, वो गायनेकोलॉजिस्ट से या वहीं से प्राइमिंग होना चाहिए कि वैक्सीनेशन के लिए रोटावायरस वैक्सीन यू गिव the first dose at 6 weeks, second dose at 10 weeks, third dose at 14 weeks. You are still after the vaccination also there are cases के हुआ है. Only side effect being there are cases के rotaviral vaccines दिए हैं तो भी हुआ है rotavirus. क्योंकि rotavirus उतना बड़ा चीज, it's ubiquitous. It is ubiquitous. You can have rotavirus diarrhea. What we can do is first thing prevent it. After you first you did the prevention, still child has diarrhea. Second is you control the dehydration part of it, because you just do the test अपने satisfaction के लिए पता चल गया rotavirus diarrhea label कर दिया. It's not important. The child should recover from it, and then you give the adequate probiotics and all. So now we have as good probiotics, which earlier we didn't have, and anti-secretory agents.
So the takeaway point is सारे practitioners के लिए कि जितने बच्चे आएंगे रोटावायरस नहीं लिया है तो उनको एक्सरसाइज करना है रोटावायरस लेने के लिए, एंड हो सके तो 1.5 महीने के पहले पहला डोज जाना ही चाहिए बच्चे को, तो फायदा होएगा.
So भेज दो सर के पास.
या सो हर डायरिया का कॉज दांत आना ही नहीं होता है. हेमा मैडम ने काफी अच्छी तरह से एक्सप्लेन किया है सारे कॉजेज के साथ में ट्रीटमेंट वगैरह. थैंक यू डॉक्टर हेमा मैडम फॉर highlighting all the various important points. So anyone else has questions?
I think so. No
Yes,
any
I
question.
give over to Dr. Vinayak.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it is a very interesting and informative question answer session. So thank you, Dr. Hema Yadav madam and Dr. Abhijit Agrawat sir. Now here I am requesting our special guest DMA President Dr. Milind Taute sir to give a vote of thanks and say few words. Dr. Milind Taute sir.
Thank you. Good evening, doctors. Am I audible?
Good evening.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Good evening, doctors. Myself, Dr. Milind Taute, President of Daisar Medical Association. Thanks our today's speaker, Dr. Hema Yadav, for her excellent and informative lecture. She has covered all the points of diarrhea in children, like types of diarrhea, diet, IV fluids, low lactose diet, the PAP, zinc, importance of zinc, importance of role of probiotics and prebiotics. Once again, thanks Dr. Hema madam. I also thanks today's host, Dr. Jignesh Chauhan and Dr. Vinayak Desai, our moderator, Dr. Abhijit Agrawal, and our chairperson, Dr. Samir Jadhav, for their participation. We are doing this webinar series for last 3 months. Now there is Diwali in next coming week. So we are taking break for 2 weeks. After that, we will have a lecture of Dr. Mahesh Joseph. Wish you all happy Diwali. Thanks to all the once again, thanks to our speaker.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Milind Taute sir, for your appreciation words towards our webinar and your warm Diwali wishes to all the DMA members. Dear friends, today is the 14th webinar of our series and Dr. Hema Yadav madam is delivering excellent lecture to us and updating our knowledge about the management of diarrhea in children, which is really useful to us in our general practice.
And I repeat you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah. Thank you, everyone. Bye, everyone.